Lesson 7.8, Implicit Differentiation Level 3. This is as hard as they get. We've got sine of something, so this is going to use the chain rule, equals y cubed. So I'll write it again. And then I like to just put brackets around the whole thing. I'm going to take it times d over dx. So I'm taking the derivative with respect to x. So when I take it with respect to y, I end up with a dy over dx, which I'm going to write y prime. And so derivative of outer function, which is sine, would be cosine. Keep the inside the same. And then times the derivative of the inside, which is unfortunately a product rule. So we've got this times, we've got, I'm going to keep 5x, and then times the derivative of y, plus, I'm going to take the derivative of 5x times normal y. Okay, and then equals 3y squared times y prime. Okay, so then you think, well, what do I do to get y prime by itself? Because I don't simply have just terms that are separate. This is getting added and getting multiplied. So what I want you to think about is this is a distributive property. So what if I had it like this, where it was 5xy prime plus 5y, that times cosine of 5xy. So then I want you to see that you're distributing this and distributing this. So it's kind of like having something like this, where it's something times something. Or I guess I didn't have to rewrite it. This is really your one term times two terms. Maybe that would have looked better, seeing this times this and this times this. Whatever you prefer. Okay, so I got 5xy prime times cosine of 5xy, and then plus 5y cosine of 5xy equals 3y squared y prime. Okay, so now I see y prime in this first term, and this whole thing's a term. This is a term that doesn't have it. This is a term that does. And so I'm going to move some stuff around. So I'll have negative 3y squared y prime equaling a negative 5y cosine of 5xy. Okay, then I'm going to factor out that y prime. So I get 5x cosine of 5xy minus 3y squared. Okay, and then I know I'm dividing all of this. And so my final answer, we can just go ahead and write it, would be that. All right, number 2. Number 2 has a square root, so my first thing I do is rewrite this 5x cubed plus 5y raised to the 1/2 power so that we can do our chain rule. So we're taking the whole thing times d over dx, or derivative with respect to x. So chain rule says to bring the 1/2 in front, keep the inside the same, subtract 1/2 from the power. Okay, but times the derivative of the inside, which would be 15x squared plus 5. But then since there's a y in there, I have to do y prime. And then also on the other side, taking the derivative of y is really 1, but it'll be 1y prime. Okay, so looking where y prime is, it's here and it's here. We've got some different options. My first thoughts were, let's fix this a little bit. Let's sync this to the denominator. This 2 is on the denominator. This is in the numerator, so I'll keep 15x squared plus 5y prime on top over my 2, and then times, if you want to go ahead and make this a square root of 5x cubed plus 5y, since it's to the 1/2 power, equals y prime. Okay, and then now I'm going to cross multiply because this is over 1. I'm going to take this times this, or you're thinking multiply by this denominator, but I don't really want to write all that. So I'm taking y prime times this, so I'll write 2 times y prime times the square root of 5x cubed plus 5y equals this numerator, 15x squared plus 5y prime. Okay, I want to move this term. Need more room on this paper, didn't I? 2y prime square root 5x cubed plus 5y minus 5y prime equals 15x squared. I'm going to factor out the y prime. And I get times 2 square root 5x cubed plus 5y minus 5. So hopefully you can see what the answer is when I divide by this. It'll be 15x squared all over 2 times the square root of 5x cubed plus 5y minus 5. All right, and then last one. We have x plus y squared raised to the 5th power equals 3x. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my brackets because I feel like I'm going to run out of room on this one. 2 times d over dx. Chain rule, take the 5, bring it in front, times x plus y squared to the 4th, times, derivative of x is 1, plus 2y, but then times y prime, equals 3. All right, y prime is only here, but again it's got multiplication. And so, thinking what the best option is here. We can distribute again. Is there any other thing? Yeah, okay. I could divide this whole thing away. No. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and distribute. So I've got 1 times this whole thing. So it'll still be 5 times x plus y squared to the 4th. Plus, I'm going to take this term times this whole thing. 2 times 5 would be 10. I'm going to keep the y prime in front, then times the x plus y squared to the 4th, equal to 3. So I really only see y prime in one spot. I'm going to move this term over, so it'll be negative. And then I'm going to factor out a y prime, which is pretty easy to go ahead and tell what's left over. It'll be this 10y times x plus y squared raised to the 4th power. And again, all of this is getting some kind of slope formula so that you could plug in an x and a y and be able to get the slope at that specific point.